I want to speak about Chelsea. Chelsea, fans in huge celebratory mode yesterday, making it into the Champions League. Enzo Maresca came out, told a lot of his doubters to F off. He said, "You English say F off." I think it was Enzo Fernandez was in tears yesterday. Massive party in the dressing room. They made it into the Champions League and proved a lot of people, yourself, Potsy, yourself, Hussam, wrong. Are you... what's your view on them making the Champions League and their celebrations towards it?
I think Chelsea deserve to make Champions League over the course of the season. Their performances overall over the course of the season have been good. Have been Champions League where I think in the last 10 games they've done really well. I think they've only dropped points once, if I'm not mistaken, in the last 10 games. So they've had a fantastic run to wrap up the season, after the bad run that they had like kind of December onwards. So I think Chelsea are in a good position. They make Champions League football. Obviously, they celebrated like they won the World Cup yesterday, which is normal for a club with all children in there, no one experienced, to actually tell them to just chill out a little bit.
I remember when Alisson scored the goal, I think there was a team that...
And also, anyway, when it comes to the Champions League, I think it's actually really good. Mo, you're here just to rage bait. You try to rage bait Terry, you're trying to rage bait
but
me.
you don't say that.
Rage bait Terry.
The problem
if I rage bait you right now,
and
I remind you that you're Juventus's bitch, because for 10 years you sat there and watched them lift
You're rattled.
10 years in a row. I'm rattled.
He's rattled. You're rattled. Wallahi, you're rattled.
As well.
You're rattled.
Always remember your Juve's bitch. They have 38 league titles.
You're rattled.
38 league titles. You sat there in your adulthood.
Take the L and move on.
10 in a row.
Take the L and move on.
Rage bait.
Take that. There's no rage bait.
Anyway, back to the topic. He asked me about Chelsea. He asked me about Chelsea.
And you literally, you're doing a celebration police because they celebrated. You're doing a celebration police.
Anyway, back to the topic.
Celebrating, getting top exactly that. Crying. Wallahi, this is
yeah, because the goalkeeper scored the goal in the 90th minute.
No, because you qualified for the Champions League.
Anyway, I'm not. Your face is red. Your veins are popping. Napoli on you. Anyway, back to the topic. I think Chelsea deserve top 4 qualification over the course of the season. They've done really well. They needed to get like Champions League qualification for their finances and for them changing the direction that like their club is headed in. Maresca's done a good job and he has achieved his objective. Like his objective at the start of the season was get top 4. He has achieved his objective. They have obviously the Conference League final this Wednesday, but listen, I know maybe people who are all about like the trophies directly will not like this, but the game against Forest was way more important than the game against Betis. Like if you ask objective Chelsea fans want their club to improve, I think winning the game against Forest is way better than winning the game against Betis, because at the end of the day you win the Conference League, you achieve qualification for Europa League, but it's a good trophy of course because you've made it to the final, but at the end of the day it's all about getting top 4 football, top 5 as well now, so it made it even less of an excuse. And we'll see what Chelsea do. Hopefully they don't have to watch their rivals win 10 in a row as they're supporting Chelsea. Anyway, go ahead, Potts, your thoughts on Chelsea.
I think they have a section of the fans that are absolutely embarrassing, if I'm honest, because they are basically the blue Arsenal now. They're asking for a process. They're asking for young players. Give it time. They spent £1 billion and they get top 4 and they're celebrating like that. My God, I thought Enzo had won another World Cup. Crying, getting top 4. What is happening here? Like, we used to get that and be disappointed, and everyone used to have a massive, oh my God, look at this section of their fans that are crying over it, getting excited. The biggest hypocrite fan base, in my opinion, Chelsea. I don't understand this team, why they used to cause me massive pain for the last 2 decades. Now, what are we supposed to be like holding that because they got top 4? Like, we've had an awful season, Arsenal have had, and we're like miles better than Chelsea, and we're disappointed. They're like screaming, going, I couldn't believe yesterday. I'm listening to Don on voice notes cry basically because his equivalent of winning the treble has happened. I can't understand the fans. I don't get Chelsea fans at all. Like Lauda said earlier, they'll probably start singing West London Forever soon. Like, real talk, they're just copying us. Everything they're doing, everything that we done that we laughed at or was laughed at, and that I used to laugh at as well, because I wasn't a part of that section of the fan base that was celebrating top 4 like a trophy, they're now doing. It's absolutely crazy. They've copied the style of our manager who learned under Pep in Maresca, and they're trying to win with him. I don't get it. I'm just don't understand Chelsea at all, if I'm honest. They've done well to get Champions League. I think they will win the Conference League as well, and I think that could be seen as a very good season for them. But I thought Chelsea were winning Champions Leagues and Premier Leagues. I didn't realise they were a team that's now a top 4 and trying to win a Conference League. But that's how the mighty has fallen. And fair play to Chelsea. Incredible season. Unbelievable achievement for them. Everyone thought they'd come 12th and they managed to get 4th. That's where Chelsea are now. Fair play.
Can I ask a general question? Dan, can I ask a general question? Do you believe if Man United next season had a good season and they get Champions League football next season, do you think they should celebrate?
No, because it's Manchester United, who are the biggest club in the country. Why should they be celebrating?
Even when they are now, even where they are now, like so after this season.
Okay, let me answer it differently then. I wouldn't, but if they want to, go ahead. I just find it embarrassing, if I'm honest. That's just me. I don't run around roundabouts when I come 4th. That's just my opinion.
I don't think it's about being 4th, though. It's about what you want. So, for instance, when nations qualify for World Cups and Euros, they celebrate the qualification because then they get to go to the finals. That's always been a thing. No one ever thought it was weird. When Beckham scored that free kick against Greece and the whole country celebrated, nobody said, but you haven't won the World Cup. We celebrated because we qualified for the chance to win the World Cup. And I used to say this to Arsenal fans. I know the top 4 trophy probably scarred a lot of you guys, but I never understood why people weren't happy with qualifying for the Champions League, because without qualifying for the Champions League,
Terry.
No, I understand that, but this is where Chelsea maybe are different. Chelsea are going to invest. Chelsea will have a chance of winning the Champions League next year. They're not going to be a favourite. But if they buy right this summer, there's a chance next season, because it's not. And we know Chelsea can do it with decent signings. You know why?
But that's why they're over celebrating, because they think next year they're going to win the Champions League.
No, but they're not thinking they will. They're thinking they might, because the 2 times Chelsea have won the Champions League, it weren't exactly Chelsea's best teams in the last 20 years. When you're in it with the right investment, you can win it. So I don't think I get why Arsenal fans that don't think their club will ever do enough to win it don't get hyped. But if City would have missed out this year and then got back into it the following year, Liverpool, they did celebrate when Alisson scored that goal. I remember Rebecca Arnold, who a lot of people follow her on Twitter, a really good sports writer. It was only halfway through this season. She said every now and then, to cheer herself up, she'll watch Alisson score that goal again because of the moment and what it meant. Liverpool celebrate every time they qualify for the Champions League because they know they've always got a chance of winning it. And so I think that's where we have to start looking at.
I think we're removing context. I think we're removing context from this. If Chelsea were 2nd or 3rd throughout the whole season, and they never had a dip, yes. I think the season would end like, yeah, we did our objective. We actually secured the Champions League. Like, to be honest with you, like what Arsenal did. Like, you shouldn't celebrate
Christmas mode. Well, they're not.
Yeah, but the problem. Okay, but the problem. What happened is they actually fell off massively. You remember they were 7th at some point then, and everyone said that they aren't going to be Everton, they aren't going to be Fulham, they aren't going to be Liverpool, they aren't going to be Forest away. So them defying the odds that everyone said, and everyone told them that you're not going to qualify for the Champions League after the horrific, and Maresca's repeating Leicester City season last season when they fell off. I think that is why they're celebrating. I don't think they're celebrating qualifying for the Champions League. I guarantee you, as I said, if Chelsea were comfortably in the Champions League from December until now, they weren't going to celebrate. It was going to be, yeah, we achieved our objective. The thing about achieving something when most of the season or the majority of the season you have been ruled out of it, pundits have clowned you as Chelsea players, as Chelsea fans, and people have doubted some of the players like Caicedo, Mahrez.
Chelsea aren't massive anymore, Mo. They get to celebrate.
No, hold on. No, but you don't I don't think you're getting the point. They aren't celebrating qualifying to the Champions League. They are celebrating qualifying for the Champions League after a massive dip and after all the pundits, and that told them you aren't going to make it. And that is why Maresca has hit back. You get the point. If people said next season that Arsenal and Arsenal are shit and everything, and you came like
we should have
Chelsea.
been over celebrating coming
How
second.
you are
then.
different. Chelsea finished
'Cause we've had
sixth
a better
last season.
season because we're
Yeah,
firing
but
the league.
Chelsea
all
finished
nonsense.
sixth last season and they finished 12th. And they defied the odds that people put. It's not themselves. They actually set the target for themselves to make Champions League, right? And they were 7th then. Just like 5-6 weeks ago or something. They were 7th. City were ahead of them. Forest
Yeah,
were
but
ahead of
I'm
them.
not saying it's a bad achievement, Mo. I'm saying it was a bit over the top. They're running and celebrating, just
Yeah,
like it
right.
is when Arsenal did it. I think they need to remain consistent, the fans. There's some in the chat going, oh my God, imagine coming second 3 years in a row. Don't run around like going mental when you get 4th then.
Because you
I
were
don't get it.
second. Because you were second last season then and the season before. So that is not an achievement for you. You actually
know.
failed the season in the
Trust me,
league.
I'm the first to say it ain't an
Dan,
achievement.
you failed the season in the league. They haven't. They achieved their
And
objective
that's
then.
the difference between Chelsea now. Look at the state.
And
of
their
them.
standards have dropped, and
They've
everyone knows
massively
that.
dropped. And that's my point,
They
Mo.
have dropped.
They're massively dropped, bro.
Yeah,
Massively.
but the players and the managers. Okay, let me give you. Since Enzo Fernandez has joined the club, since Caicedo joined the club, they haven't played Champions League football. They're playing Liga Warsaw then. They're going to Kazakhstan. With all due respect to this team, they're going to Poland. They're going to Kazakhstan. They're going to Belarus to play games. Now they go to play against Real Madrid, Barcelona, Liverpool, Bayern Munich, these teams. So they get to celebrate. These players, some of these players have never played Champions League. The likes of Kulwell has never played Champions League football before. Enzo Fernandez has played with Benfica, but he's a second captain of Chelsea. So he gets to celebrate this. Especially because they were out then. Then they were out. They were out.
So you think that is normal? That's normal for yesterday was normal for Chelsea. You expected them to be like that. Enzo crying on the floor. Guy who's won the
I
World
expected them, if they win against Forest, to celebrate like crazy. To be honest, I expected them to win.
Wow.
Celebrate like crazy.
Wow.
I expected that.
Chelsea have fallen, man, massively. Massive fall from them. My God. Incredible.
Dan,
Do
remember?
you not agree, Hassam? Am I alone here?
Dan,
I'm very
remember.
quiet on this, bro.
You're not alone. You're not alone.
Dan, the last time.
But these are two people with low standards. One guy watches biggest rival win 10 in a row, and the other guy's 15th. So they won't get our point.
To be honest with you, the last time.
1.5 million.
Hussam, though, this is the thing with
Terry, move on. Terry, move on. He's rattled.
I know he's rattled.
He's hating back. Like he's hating back, and that's all he's doing.
all the time.
I can rage bait as well. Dan Potts. Rage bait 101. See, they're both screaming.
I let it go earlier because you said earlier like the Man United. Would you agree that this is the worst season by one of the big 6 teams ever?
Yeah, 100%.
But it isn't though, because when Liverpool got relegated, they spent 8 years outside the top flight. That was much worse than coming 15th in the league, mate. You don't even know your own history, bruv. Let's move on to these super chats.
Talk about the modern era.
Oh, so okay, modern era. You ain't got
because in the previous era there was no big
Champions Leagues. Fuck you, modern era.
There we go. The previous era there was no
6 Champions League. Modern era. Fuck you. There we go. There we go. You know, it's that Liverpool fan.
Rage bait Dan Potts. See, I can do easily what Mo does every stream. I can do it.
And do you know what we do?
Make the
Potsy, do you agree with it? Modern era, they've only got 2 league titles. Why are you celebrating 20? Modern era.
To be fair, modern era, I can't agree with you, Hassan, but you know, it is what
there
it is.
There we go. See you later.
There was no big 6 in the old era.
2 leagues. 2 leagues. That's all you got.
There was no big 6 in the old era.
Have you got 2 leagues, or did you get relegated and stay at the top flight for 8 years? Which is true? Which is true? Which is true?
No big 6 in the old era. Very simple.
There weren't big teams then. Oh
no, there was no big 6 in the old era.
Oh, but we still existed. The phrase didn't exist, but we still existed, didn't we?
No.
So Man United in the 50s weren't a big team?
No, in the 70s and 80s, in the 70s, 80s, there was no big 6.
No, but you tell me Man United, Liverpool weren't big teams in those
years. The big 6 happened when Poch revamped Spurs.
All our clubs are huge then. All our clubs are huge then.
You're purposefully missing the point. You're not.
No, I'm not. No, I agree with you. The phrase "Big 6" wasn't coined by Sky Sports. It didn't exist. But the clubs were all massive, weren't we? We're all still the claim clubs.
Yes.
Come on now. I'm doing up our history here. You heard it here first. Liverpool have 2 Champions Leagues and 2 league titles only, according to Hassam. There we go.
That's what I said.
Chelsea will win another European trophy before Arsenal. You have to. You can't let Betis. Did you see what Real Betis did on their socials? They changed their badge and put a bird in it.
I so badly want a Betis to beat them, man. It would be hilarious.
Never going to happen, man. Honestly, it's just not 0% chance, 5%. 5%. Chelsea are going to be
Pellegrini, come on.
Maybe.
Let's do it. Come on. No, I do think Chelsea will win it. But
5%.
yeah, that's a bit harsh on
5%.
Yeah, Chelsea are they're in such good form at the minute. And even the Newcastle game they lost, that was Jackson messing up. You know, the Newcastle's goal was, both their goals were quite lucky. Jackson got himself sent off. They're the best team in the second half. They battered Liverpool, outclassed United, and should have scored loads of goals. They've been really good. And I think they're going to be on a high after yesterday. I think they're winning 3-1.
I think you're underestimating Anthony, Terry. Come on.
I hope Anthony scores a hat-trick and Betis win, because that's show me the money, baby. Show me the money, baby.
60 million. You're going to get 60 million for Anthony if he scores in the final.
Oh, can you imagine, man? That in fairness, right? Someone from Ineos deserves a little statue, not a big one, if they get more than 40 million for Anthony. Do you know what I mean? Brilliant move. But no, I think they'll win that. Juventus, Bish is out of pocket. Big up Hussam.
Yeah, you had to watch Juve win 10 in a row. Their biggest rivals. It's crazy. I never saw that.
You literally saw Man United.
You saw Man United win 13 without reply, bruv. Modern era as well.
I just said win 10 in a row.
Anyway.
FHM plus Mo, humbled, fraud, hold that.
Because Mo's just trying to rage bait.
Make sure to subscribe.
Moving on.